Head gasket, 2004 Toyota Corolla. Started having issues with overheating, obviously. Owner said stalling out after the engine got warm. Found out that the water pump was in fact bad. Replaced the water pump and the belt. Water pump's down there, it's hard to see. Fixed that. Water pump was bad, like I said. Fixed that. He was still having issues with overheating. Check engine light, cylinder 2 and 3 random misfire. Did a head gasket test. I don't have the kit with me. Real simple test. You put a syringe type thing here with dye inside of it. It was blue. If it turned yellow or green, then the head gasket goes bad. Turned green within a few seconds. So that was an easy way to test. But obviously something was going on because of all the issues we were having, like I said, overheating and some of the 2-3 random misfire, coolant spilling up out of the reservoir constantly. So it was obvious. All I've done so far is disconnect everything up top. If you're watching this and you're doing this yourself, what I've already done shouldn't be a big deal, because I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I'm working on the intake right now. After I get this intake off and the bolts down here, it's already pretty loose just by getting these bolts up here off. I'm gonna finish the ones down there, get the intake off, and then work on the exhaust manifold. My plan with the finishing the intake was to undo this clamp and then undo the throttle cable from down here, just by loosening this and then pulling this off like that. Problem is, it's really corroded in there. I'm not trying to buy a new throttle cable. It is electronic, doesn't look fun. So tighten that back up and simply undid the 4 bolts that mount the throttle body to the intake. So that's off now. So this I need 2 hands, but the intake will pull right off. Alright, this really opened up. Finishing plugging all these sensors. One here, one down by the oil filter base. I already did all the ones for the alternator and the AC compressor. Your best friend and your worst enemy getting sensors out can be just a flathead and some pliers. I got the only pliers I got right now. I got plenty over here, but yeah, like I said, best friend or worst enemy. Be careful, know what you're doing, or you're gonna break it. And now this harness can take all this, and now this harness needs to go up here so the head can come up. So all this we're gonna have to finish pulling. See another sensor here, and it's just gonna get tucked away over there. Next, we're going on this engine mount here. I did one here, one on the other side, one up there, one here, and then you're gonna get 2 from underneath. Makes it a lot easier when you have good equipment like this. You have a 1/2" and 3/8 electric impact. So if I can get the camera up there, you can see I already got one out. Get the second on there, and this is a hard angle, but and now that's out. You might get just the nut out. Sorry. You might get just the nut out, or you might get the nut and the stud, no big deal. And of course, I got the engine supported with a floor jack. Belts, serpentine belts on these. Sorry, so fun. You gotta loosen this. I don't know why Toyota did it like this. You know, loosen this nut, and then this is the adjuster. So it's a 17 for the nut. I think it's an 18. Nope, I don't know, 19 for the one that loosens the belt. And all you're gonna do is get it on there like that, push it up, and pull the belt off. Alright, so I'm working on getting this mount off. In order to get the lower bolt for this under here, you actually have to take this entire tensioner off. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna loosen this bolt all the way, and you're gonna take off this nut, and this whole plate with this pulley on here is going to come off, and then you can get to the lower bolt right where my thumb is right now. This will come off, and then you just kind of work your way down, getting everything on this side off, because this is where the timing belt is, and that has to come off for the head to come off. All right, so a little trouble with this belt tensioner, clearance wise, getting it out, but it was only because I took the engine mount off, so the engine sank a little bit. So all you gotta do when that bolt isn't coming out for you is jack up the engine, get the clearance you need here, right? And this bolt will come out for you, so that you can get to the boom. There, see, power steering pump. And I already did the water pump. Water pump was easy, real easy water pump. Alternator easy, 2 bolts. Down here, fire off. Crank pulley comes right off, not hard to get to, really not. It's a size 20. Like I said, this 1/2 inch impact gun really helps. This is like 1,300 pounds of reverse torque. So if you're using hand tools, you're probably gonna have trouble. This thing made it a fucking snap. So like I said, you need some sort of impact gun for this. All right, couldn't get the power steering pump. I'm gonna leave that for now. Everything else right here is off. Just take the valve cover off, easy. Okay. So timing belt cover, there's about that many bolts for it. Some are 10 and some are 12. There was one sensor down here that just popped right out, and then you can see this thing is loose. I just gotta pull it up and out now. I gotta make some room. The power steering pump, it was just these 2 long bolts that are through bolts. You're gonna need a wrench on one side, a socket on the other. You go right through the pulley here, and then up there, you can see it right there. Where's my finger? Right there. And then just pry. I had to stick a pry bar down here and pry the pump because it's really in there, but it's only those 2 bolts. And then let's get this cover off. All right, manual says to remove this pivot arm bolt and the timing chain will come off. I'll show you the manual in a little bit. Timing chain is intake exhaust crankshaft marks are identified with orange links. So this one is there's 2 more up top, but I'll show you the manual after. All right, so now I'm taking the camshafts off to get to the head bolts. These gotta stay in the same place. Right here we have I5, looks like I4 or 1.4, 1.3, 1.2, makes sense. And here we have E2 with an arrow facing the sprocket, E3, E4, and that last one is an E5. So E5, 4, 3, 2 with the arrows facing the sprocket, and 15, 14, 13, 12 with the arrows facing the sprocket. All right, camshafts lift right out. Make sure you make a video or mark the U-bolts like I did for the camshafts. Now I gotta get the head bolts. That Toyota.
Oh, the one that
my father-in-law gave me because he needs a head gasket.
Yeah, because you fucked it up.
Because I fucked it up?
Yeah, you fucked it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, either way, if that's the case, guess what? I'm still making money, so I don't give a shit.
It was just overheating and then you fucked the head up. For the head gasket.
I knew it was a head gasket when he first called me.
No, it wasn't a head gasket.
Alright, one more here. This here, sensor here. I had to take all this out. This one here. That's this. I need to put back together. This flat one here. This one. I'm gonna have to pull this fuel rail and the sensors. This sensor here. This here. This little one. It started. Alright, so this is the old head gasket. Sorry, jumped ahead, guys. I got it out, got the new one in. Just go over a few things. Two-piece gasket, obviously. Metal liner in the middle. This is cylinder 1 here. So it was like, if this was the engine, this was where the serpentine system is. So obviously this, a little hard to see, was you know, worn thin right here. Worn very thin, and you can see the black, that's the exhaust gases. Wherever there's black, there was a break in the seal. Here's more black. There was exhaust gases being shared between the cylinders here. That's why I had a cylinder 2 and 3 misfire. This one was pretty good. And again, this was all from the water pump going bad, warped the head, and it was enough to break the gasket here and break the seal here and cause all those problems. So a new one went in, no problem. I do recommend getting that Haynes manual, which I don't have with me. It has everything. The most important thing is the torque specs and sequences on the head, the camshafts, the timing chain cover, stuff like that. The procedure for the timing chain tensioner, and also yeah, just the timing in general, very important. They do make it easy with that chain. You'll see, as I showed earlier in the video, they got the orange timing marks. It helps you line it up, but there is a procedure to double check to make sure after a few revolutions that the timing chain, that the timing is still on. There's 2 little divots on each cam gear that are supposed to line up in the center. And again, you really need a manual for that. There's not many videos out there on how to do it, so just invest the $14 in a manual. I got the Haynes manual for it, and I just broke it up into sections. You know, removal and installation of the head, then the camshafts, then the timing chain, and then everything else is kind of self-explanatory, just throwing everything back. And it worked good for me. I did a compression test, which is not necessarily it's not necessary if it's running fine afterwards, but if you think you're having issues, quick compression test of each cylinder will indicate if it's sealed or not, or if there's something else going on. I also had a different tester to check for exhaust gases in the cooling system, and there was no exhaust gases present. But again, it wasn't overheating, so there was no real faults indicated from the way it runs. But if you do this and you start having issues again, it's possible that the head gasket didn't seal correctly, or maybe there's a crack in one of the liners for the cylinders, or even the head. If you reuse the same head, there could be an issue with the head, a crack or something. So I mean, test what you can test through a compression test or some other type of test, as I mentioned, and try to figure out what's going on. And worst case scenario, you gotta it might be cheapest just buy a used engine. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys this. I don't have any videos for the installation procedure, but like I said, that's very tedious anyway. You need the manual. The entire procedure that I would have covered if I did make videos is in the manual, and it's there, and it's very specific, so get the manual, okay? The removal is pretty straightforward, but yeah, that's it. Any questions or comments, just leave them below.